This video is brought to you by BlueCert. BlueCert is a trusted provider for AI-related certifications designed to validate expertise in machine learning, data science, NLP, AI security, and more. You can go to bluecert.org to take a look at all of their offerings. You can explore the certifications. Here we have certifications on machine learning, AI healthcare, AI in finance, natural language processing, and many more. If I go to machine learning, you can see the different potential roles that are available for machine learning as developers and even different paths that are available. And this provides you with AI-focused specialization, flexible online exams, and also employer recognition. You can also check out some of the sample multiple choice questions on that category. If you're looking for certification for machine learning or AI related fields, check out bluecert.org. Another kind of loop which is quite popular in programming is known as the while loop. And while loop is a little bit different from the for loop because in a while loop you can actually provide a Boolean condition to tell how long the loop is going to run. Let's take a look at a very simple example. I'll create a variable called counter and I'll assign it a value of 0. Next, I'll use a while loop to print out the value of the counter. But the while loop over here requires a condition. And when that condition is true, then the loop will execute its body. So I can say while the counter is less than 10. This means that the value of the counter, as long as the value of the counter is less than 10, go ahead and print out hello. But don't run this right now because the value of the counter will always be less than 10 because no one is changing the value of the counter. So what you have now created on line number 46 is something called an infinite loop, which basically means that this loop is never going to end unless you kill your application. So don't run that right now. I mean, if you want to, you can. Just make sure that your application doesn't freeze. So how can we make sure that this loop eventually breaks? Well, we have to go ahead and update the value of the counter. Once we update the value of the counter, eventually the counter will become 10 or more than 10 and then breaking the loop. Actually, the loop will be broken when it becomes 10 because we are saying over here that the counter has to be less than 10. So 10 is not even included in that, less than 10. If I go ahead and run this right now, we can see hello printed out. So this is how we can run a while loop. Now, if we're using a while loop, can we use a while loop to iterate the contents of an array? Yeah, we can. Let's change this to index. Now you don't really have to change it to index, but since I will be using that value inside my array or to access an element of an array, counter kind of feels weird. So that's why I'm just changing it to index. While the index is less than the length of the friends array, then we can go ahead and print out friends of index, but again make sure to increment the index. If you don't increment the index, then this condition will always be true and you will again stuck in an infinite loop, a loop that never ends. Let's go ahead and run this. And you'll be able to see that you're able to print out the contents of an array, just like before using a for loop. While loops are quite popular because while loops can be used in gaming a lot. If you want to run something and you just want to run it infinitely, forever, then you can use a while loop. Here's another example of a while loop. I can also say over here, while true. Now, while true over here means, well, this is just an infinite loop now. This means that this loop is just going to run forever. I can also go over here and ask the user to input the name of the friend. Enter friend name. Okay? Once I enter the name of the friend, I go ahead and I add it or append it to my friends array. But this loop is never really going to end. It's just going to go forever. Well, I can again ask the user, enter Q to quit or any key to continue. Maybe they want to add more friends, but maybe they don't. Maybe they're done with adding friends. Next, we can check if the choice is Q, then we break. That's a new keyword that you're learning, which is break. Break simply means that you're going to break out of the loop that you're currently in. The loop that you're currently in, well, the only loop is the while loop. So if you're running a loop and you want to get out of that loop, you can break. So now if I run this application, you'll see that it's asking enter your friend name. Okay, let's go ahead and enter my friend's name. I'm going to go ahead and add Jerry. Now it's telling me that enter Q to quit or any key to continue. I'm just going to press enter. And what happens if I press enter is, since the enter is not, or the return key is not Q, it's return, it just goes back to the loop and start over. Once again, it's asking me the friend name. So I'm going to say Elaine. Enter Q to quit or any key to continue. I can go ahead and press Q now. And now the application now quits. And we have Jerry and Elaine added to the friends array. So this is how you can use a while loop. I encourage you to check out other samples. Go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to create you some activities or exercises for the practicing while loop, and that is how you will learn more about while loop. Now, which loop to use depends on the scenario. If I simply want to go ahead and get access to the index and run a loop to print something or even perform some action on the friends array, I can use a for loop. I can also use a while loop also. While loops are mostly based on some sort of a Boolean condition. Like in this case, you have a condition where the index has to be always less than length of friends. So now you have learned for loop and also while loop.